Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Hazen Barrel Craftworks, here on the Hazen Barrel Homestead and our humble whiskey room. I'm the Alchemist. Well, happy Friday, y'all. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. Had a couple of my kids over, a couple of the grandkids. Was able to share a few pours with a couple of my sons-in-law. It's mighty fun for me when they get to come in here to the whiskey room and choose a pour, and we share the ones that they pick. But today, being Friday, there's that Black Friday mayhem. I choose to settle in here and at home and have a pour of Wild Turkey Rare Breed and avoid that chaos. So for any of y'all doing the same, I invite you to grab your favorite pour, settle in, and for any of y'all joining me here at the Hazen Barrel Craftworks, after you decided to battle or fight any of that Black Friday madness, I congratulate you for finding that Black Friday find. And maybe now it's time to relax with your favorite pour and settle in as we go a little bit off the Alchemist norm. And let's say cheers together with our favorite pour as we have just a little bit of a end of our Thanksgiving week and our Thanksgiving month with just a bit of a Thanksgiving anecdote. So cheers to you all with my Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Delightful on the nose. So good on the palate. So please, I hope you had time to grab that pour, settle in. For just a little bit of a Thanksgiving anecdote. And this anecdote is the tale of the Lost Pilgrims Reserve. The year is 1997, and Dr. Eris Thorne, a meticulous, if somewhat eccentric, historian of early American spirits, found himself in the dusty archives of the Plymouth Patuxent Museum. He wasn't looking for records of the Mayflower or land deeds. He was obsessed with finding the true beginnings of American whiskey, predating the common histories of Kentucky and Pennsylvania. His quest led him to a fragile, crumbling ledger, bound in a leather that felt like dried autumn leaves. It wasn't read in English, but a dense, esoteric mix of archaic Latin, Dutch, and a scattering of Algonquin words. After weeks of painstaking translation, one entry, dated November 29th, jumped out at him. And this 1621, November 29th, 1621 date just so happened to be the Friday after the first recorded Thanksgiving feast. And this ledger read, or translated to, the barrels of Wampanoag Aqua Vitae were secreted away lest the meager store be entirely consumed by the joyous but overzealous colonists. Elder Brewster hath commanded that this reserve, mixed with local grain and the sweet sap of great maple, be opened only when the harvest is truly blessed and the two peoples dine as one beneath a unified sky. The entry referred to a small batch of aqua vitae, a pre-whiskey spirit distilled in experimental rudimentary still brought over by a Dutch-trained cooper on the Mayflower. Crucially, it was aged not in charred oak, but in a small salvaged sassafras barrels and sweetened with a reduction of maple sap, a technique learned from the local Wampanoag people who used the sap for medicinal brews. It was a true, forgotten confluence of cultures. The ledger then described a cryptic location. The shadows of the great stone where the three streams met, and the sea whispers secrets into the oldest cedar. For 20 years, Dr. Thorne hunted this spot. Every Thanksgiving, he'd forego the turkey and trimmings, donning its wool coat and tramping through the Massachusetts woods, convinced he was close. For 20 years, he thought he was close. Finally, in November 2017, while GPS mapping the confluence of three seasonal streams near an old foundation, he saw it. An ancient, oddly shaped granite boulder, and behind it, a gnarled, massive cedar tree, whose roots coiled like sea serpents. The whispering was the sound of the wind through its dry needles. Using a ground-penetrating radar, he found a small stone-lined cellar beneath the tree. Inside, preserved in the cool, stable earth, were two small, dark sassafras barrels. They were the size of modern-day rumpkins. And a rumpkin, just for reference, is an old, usually wooden rum mug. So these weren't really very big. So they were the size of modern day rumpkins, perfectly sealed with a pitch made from pine resin. He carefully extracted one of the barrels and brought it to a specialized lab. The date was confirmed, circa 1621. The liquid inside was a dark amber, almost black. And when a single drop was analyzed, the lab report confirmed the presence of early European grain alcohols mixed with volatile organic compounds unique to sassafras woods, and high levels of crystallized maple sugar residue. The liquid was a pre-American whiskey unlike any other. The nose, earthy sassafras root beer, black tea, and a phantom whisper of sea air. The palate, a startling initial sweetness, followed by a peppery spice and a distinct rooty bitterness that quickly mellowed into a smoky maple finish. It tasted, literally, of the first New England soil. Dr. Throne decided that the Pilgrim's Reserve was too historically important to be simply consumed. He had the liquid from the first barrel meticulously bottled into 162 small vials, each placed within a cedar presentation box. He kept one vial for himself. On Thanksgiving Day 2018, Dr. Thorne didn't carve the turkey at his family's table. Instead, he drove to the site, stood under the great cedar, and with a heavy heart and respectful Thanksgiving nod to the Wampanoag spirit, he felt in the ground, he uncorked his vial. He didn't just drink it, he poured a small capful into a hip flask, and then used the rest to toast the earth, ensuring that the remaining liquid in the second untouched barrel would be left on the site. A permanent, unmolested, historical Thanksgiving marker. He then drove home, and after a brief emotional speech about shared history and true gratitude, he poured a modest measure of a modern, high-quality, maplewood finished bourbon into everyone's glass. This, he declared, raising his glass, is the legacy, but the true Thanksgiving whiskey, it rests where it belongs. It taught us what was possible when we share the harvest, the knowledge, and the spirit, and for that, we are truly thankful. And that, y'all, is the tale of the Lost Pilgrims Reserve, a forgotten sassafras age spirit that tasted of a fragile peace and the most exclusive Thanksgiving toast in Thanksgiving history. And so, from the Alchemist to all of you who have tuned in today or watched my month-long videos of thanks to what is to be a whiskey community, I say again, thank you to all of you, and may your whiskey always be neat and our friendships always be unfiltered. To the men and women who know the difference between a great dram and a great community, we are thankful for the grain, the barrel, and the patient hands that made this drink, as well as those who made us who we are. But most of all, we are thankful for the company that makes it a shared memory. May our glasses and our circle always be full. Cheers, and thanks to all y'all.